Hello, everyone, and welcome to our study various majors in the United States. Today, we will focus on study TESOL in the United States, when TESOL stands for Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. My name is Hani, and I am I'm not the English teaching assistant. I am the advisor at the Fulbright Commission, but Autumn here is a Fulbright grantee and a English teaching. Oh, I need to study TESOL, or you need to teach me. She is a Fulbright grantee and current English teaching assistant in the Czech Republic. And today, guys, she will walk us through studying this major at a U.S. higher education institution. Thank you, Autumn, for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. Yeah, so okay, I will tell you a bit about TESOL. I studied it at Eastern Michigan University at a undergraduate level, so it was my bachelor's degree. So let us get into it. So why do people study TESOL? Well, it improves your understanding of English, and actually, as a non-native speaker of English, you understand English better than a native speaker does already, because you had to learn it consciously. Whereas a native speaker doesn't come already like understanding it. They have to really like then teach themselves to understand why do I say it that way, because they don't know, they just say it, right? Like, I'm sure if you're thinking of Czech and somebody asks you like, why do you say it like that, maybe you can't always answer. So that is one benefit. And then also it prepares you for a variety of career opportunities all over the world. If you want to travel, TESOL is amazing, because you can, I'm a great example of that. Yeah, because you can basically with TESOL you can get a job almost anywhere to teach English there, and it's really in high demand. It's really needed because English is a lingua franca, right? It's a language that we use to communicate when we don't have a language in common, and so it's very needed in a lot of places. So yeah, that is kind of the reason why someone would study it. It's the reason I studied it. And then yeah,
I really do feel that it's so amazing that we guys, the Czech people here, we have the advantage of really knowing how we learned English, and now you can kind of, it is easier for you to understand why you learn things and why you teach things the way you do, because you also had to learn it. So exactly what Autumn said, you have this advantage over American students because this is their native language and they learned it the way you learn Czech. So sometimes, and again, as Autumn mentioned, sometimes it's so difficult for me to explain Czech to the Americans because it's just, this is the way it is, but with English, it's, we studied it from books, so it is more structured and learn that way. Yeah, take advantage of that.
yes, definitely. Okay, good. So when studying TESOL, we learn, these are some of the things that you might learn, right? It's like listening and speaking, the methodology of teaching, literacy, linguistics, British and American literature, and world languages. And when I say world languages, I don't mean that I learned all of the languages. It's more that you learn about the languages, how they're structured, and like Slavic languages, right? And like how, the grouping of that and the commonality, like that is kind of like what that means. So yeah, any questions about that?
I don't know. The one question that I might have is that typically in Czech high school, students have British course books, so they learn British spelling. And I'm sure that you came across that a little bit. Like, I know that people usually say that you learn that English that your teacher has. So if your teacher speaks American English, you're going to learn American English. but with the writing and with the spelling, sometimes I feel like we learn the British way. So is that something to keep an eye on when applying to the United States, to know that you come from the environment where you studied British English?
That's a good question. And honestly, I guess I'm not 100% sure because neither is wrong. I will say that what I've learned through my program is that the standard American, like the standard English, right, is like standard American English is kind of the accent that I have. This is like the most like business English, if you want to say it that way. And so that is one thing that I know, but I also know that most people here are learning British English. It seems like. And to my knowledge, like there's nothing wrong with that, or that isn't going to like decrease your chances necessarily or anything like that, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. And things about schools. I do not have a list of schools for you to look at because I didn't apply to my bachelor's degree with the idea that I would study TESOL. I didn't know that I would study this. I saw it as an option once I got to the school that I was at, and I saw that I could travel with it, and it was something that interested me. It was the way that I could get to know a lot of people and understand other people, and that was where I figured it out later. And so I would say that the bigger thing to look at is the overall school and how you would fit there and all these other aspects, because it's also true that you could switch what you want to study. So I wouldn't apply just for that specific program. If it's a school that is really good for you and they have that program and it's good, then even better. But like, I would look at those other things first. So that's just my opinion on it. But is there a PhD program? That's a good thing to consider when you're looking at this area of study, and just like looking at honestly any area. If you like know that you want to get into it and you want to go deep in it, if the program has a if the like college and the like, if there's a TESOL PhD or like master's program, like some sort of graduate program, then you're going to be surrounded by higher level research and yeah, basically you're just going to be in a like higher quality department. So that's one sign of that. And then our professors researching topics that interest you. So even within TESOL, there are specifics, right? And so if there are these emphases that are more interesting to you, that's just something to look at always, I think.
So we know already about you, or I know it, and I'll share it now, that your major was psychology. And so can you study TESOL as a minor, or did you have just double major, or what was the deal with you?
Yeah, the deal with me is that I started off studying psychology, and that was what I knew I wanted to study. And then I had to get a minor, and I chose TESOL as my minor originally, because I wanted to have the opportunity and the option to travel and teach English. Teaching English was a good way to do that and still help people. So I had that as my minor, but then I sort of got pulled into the TESOL program, and I had the opportunity to make it my major and go to the Czech Republic actually to do those classes. So I did that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It opened a huge door for you to study English, the language you know and you grew up with, and this opened a door to the Czech Republic for a year. That's wow.
Yes. Well, because that was before, like when I was an undergrad, I came to the Czech Republic for that year. But anyway, and now I'm back because I didn't get to stay the whole time. But anyway, that's a different story.
Okay. So, but you can
Yeah.
definitely, it doesn't have to be just a minor. You can study TESOL as a major. I remember also like being an international student in the US, I had to take some ESL classes, you know, just to make sure that I get better in English and I improve my writing skills and so forth. So it is really handy to, you know, learn English as your second language and yeah, just brush your knowledge that you already have.
For sure. Okay, awesome. Okay, so your options after graduating with a TESOL degree that I know of are teaching English anywhere in the world, like I already mentioned, and graduate school in TESOL to make more money. If you get a master's degree in TESOL, a lot of the time you do end up making more money, and you can also teach at a university level in a lot of countries with a master's in TESOL. So yeah, those are the options I know of. There may be more, but yeah. Okay, and preparing to apply, how to stand out is always writing. It doesn't matter what you are applying, like what program you're applying for. I really think that your writing skills are what a huge part of what makes you shine and what makes you stand out. And it's just a huge part of the university applications in the US and for scholarships. So if you can hone your writing skills, that is just going to go such a long way even after you get in. So yeah, and then volunteering to tutor in English, which I think is very doable here. I mean, if you're applying to US universities, your English is probably quite good. You can give a little tutoring and talk about that in your essays, and that would look amazing, right? And yeah, considering taking an English exam to show your level, which I think you have to do anyway,
You do
right?
because you're international, so you have to show your level of English by either some schools accept Duolingo exam, which is much easier and less expensive, but some schools really insist on you taking the TOEFL exam, which is more expensive, but you know, it's still a test that just tests your knowledge and your speaking and writing skill and listening skill and reading skill. So it is something you can definitely learn. In Education USA Advising Center, we do have prep books that you can borrow and you can, you know, study from that. There are tons of resources online, and or you can also take an AP class in Centrum pro Talentovanou Mládež and do an AP in English, you know, that will substitute the need for Duolingo or TOEFL, and it will again like boost your application having an advanced placement class, AP class. Or if your school offers like studying in English and having an IB maturita, so this is something that's, you know, I would advise you to go for it. That's again something special and unique about you. So there are tons of options.
Awesome. Okay, and that's kind of all I have to share about TESOL. So if you have any additional questions, you can reach me here or you can reach out to Hani. But do you have any questions or last thoughts?
I actually don't, because I think that Czech students wouldn't think about studying English, studying TESOL in the United States because they're already international. So this is like double, you know, like double step, double thinking. So for them, English is the second language that they are gonna learn and improve by studying there. And I haven't heard about anyone who would just do this, but I think that it's really interesting to have it either as a major or a minor, but the students that I work with are usually interested in different majors, and maybe this is just an option for them to consider it as having it as a minor because it, you know, as you said, it opens a lot of door for you, and the job opportunities are almost endless. Like everybody wants to speak English and learn English. So thank you so much for introducing TESOL to us. Guys, if you need help with researching schools that offer this major, feel free to reach out to me via email, via social media. under the handle EducationUSA Czech, and I'm happy to either help you myself or redirect you to Autumn, and she'll be also happy to answer any of your questions. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll be happy to get in touch. Bye.
Bye.